So the much anticipated Federal Reserve meeting is today. And everyone has an opinion. 68% of economists are saying the Federal Reserve will announce another round of bond purchases today. What exactly will happen? Why are the ECB and the Federal Reserve on now an open path of destroying their currency? Why is that happening? We'll find out in this installment of Collapse Confirmation News. Everybody, Fabian for Liberty, FabianForLiberty.com. Wanted to roll out a new edition of Collapse Confirmation News because so many things are happening. This is the global economic reset that we are in the midst of. And I'm going to just roll out where I think we're at and where I think this is headed over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know the timeline. I do know the direction. And I know the direction because history tells us where these economic events typically end up. This morning I was honored to have breakfast with the great Magabu guru, Richard Doty, a man who is in the gold and silver circles, really one of the best newsletter writers really of all time. His analysis has been spot on. He did retire about a year ago, but if you go back and read his articles, you'll find he's been spot on with gold and silver. Was all in gold and silver back in 2001, 2002, and history has shown he was completely right. And in talking to him today, one of the themes of our discussion was, does the Federal Reserve, did Ben Bernanke today, when he announces, which I believe he will announce, the potential of an open-ended bond purchase, basically open-ended money printing. I mean, they call it QE, quantitative easing. That's fancy political talk, or should I say academic talk for money printing, is really all it is. Just like Mario Draghi with the ECB, ex-Goldman Sachs Mario Draghi, saying, ECB, we're going to basically come up with the Eurobond, we're going to print Eurobonds, we're going to buy the pigs, we're going to buy their debt, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, Italy. We're going to buy all their debt, as much of their debt as we can for the unforeseeable future until this thing turns around. But there will be no turning around because you cannot solve a debt problem with more debt. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire to try to put out the fire. It's not going to happen. This is why yesterday I wrote an article that I'm posting today on the FabianForLiberty.com, which is titled, the top 3 things that the Liberty Movement needs to help awaken the American people about dead Americans in Libya. Kind of a long title, but what are the top 3 things that happened in Libya yesterday that we can take from that we have to help waken up other people for what is coming, for this global economic reset? It all comes back to the economy. The events in Libya and the events of the Arab Spring that have been shaping the Middle East and Northern Africa for the last year and a half, it's all about the economy. I think many of us now realize that the destabilization campaigns that have been conducted at the hands of the CIA-trained assets of Al-Qaeda in Syria, in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Libya, and now the Muslim Brotherhood taking control of many of these countries, that we know that in the destabilization, there will be more conflict. I mean, now we hear intelligence community saying that Egypt is now meeting with Iran, something they said would never happen. Now they're discussing different strategies for their own defense or for to undermine the security of Israel. I don't know. We're also seeing Israel play a much bigger role in American politics like never before. Benjamin Netanyahu to come out and basically throw out the dirty laundry of his grievances with Obama instead of going behind the diplomatic scene is pretty amazing, considering the fact that him and Romney go way back and they're buddy-buddy. Many are saying, well, he's trying to help Romney get elected. There's just so many things going on in the world with respect to a greater regional war that I believe will break out in the Middle East like it usually has, and engulf not only the region but the world. Israel, Iran, Russia, China, all of these countries have taken the position. Russia, China have now come together in defense of Syria. And they've come together economically as well. Now, going back to the destruction of the currency, today when Bernanke announces QE3 or whatever they're going to call it, You have to ask yourself, why are they going down these paths? Why are they going down the path of money printing? Why are they going down the path of destroying the currency? Why are they going down the path of knowing that the actions that they take will cause massive inflation? Gasoline prices today at a 3-year high. Anybody that goes to the grocery store knows inflation is running rampant. But of course, it's not part of the CPI, so there is no inflation. They can get away with the lie, inflation's only running 2-3%. Here's my thoughts on where this is ending, where this is going, quite frankly. They will continue to print money, and gold and silver prices will continue to increase in value. Not so much that they're increasing in value, just that the dollar is decreasing in value, and you need more dollars to buy. Now, ahead of the meeting, the dollar is sliding. It's about 11 o'clock now Eastern time as I shoot this video on a Thursday, September 13th. And we have the dollar sliding ahead of news that Bernanke most likely is going to be printing more money, and so of course it's going to affect the value of the dollar. But yet we hear in China, they're buying gold like crazy, plus they have 1 billion people that are hungry for washing machines, hot water heaters, cars, furniture, consumer electronics, you name it. You name it. The global reset is on, ladies and gentlemen, but they need a major conflict, a major war to reset the world reserve currency. I believe that will be a gold-backed Chinese currency, the gold-backed yuan. I believe it's already in the works. And in order for that to happen, 2 things must take place. The continued destruction of fiat currency in the West, and also a full-blown new war of the 21st century. In this case, it bringing in Russia, China, all these other countries. Because from the ashes of that war will be a new global currency, a new world reserve currency, that I believe the Chinese will come out and say, look, we're emerging with a new gold-backed currency. And Russia will then say, well, we're going to only trade our oil, Russia being the #1 producer of oil in the world, we're only going to trade our oil in the Chinese gold-backed yuan. So Europe and South America, Brazil, if you guys want to buy our oil, if you want to buy our goods that are manufactured cheaply in China, you need gold-backed yuan. And people will say, well, we're going to get out of the dollar. You would think, the argument on the other side would be, well, China has trillions of dollars in treasuries. They're not going to do that to themselves. They would lose all kinds of money. But here's what the Chinese could do. Chinese can, pick up the phone and they can get Obama on the phone or Bernanke, and they could say, listen, see all these pieces of paper that we have right here, all these treasuries, U.S. treasuries, $1 trillion of them? I'll tell you what, we like you guys so much that we're going to give you these treasuries in exchange for the gold that you have in Fort Knox, if there's any gold there, or the gold that you have in the New York Federal Reserve. We're going to give you these treasuries, and you're going to give us back that gold. And if you don't, we're going to dump these treasuries in the open market, and we're going to destroy your currency. If you think things like that aren't either happening or getting ready to happen, you're just not dealing with reality. The economic paradigm that you have been brought up in is changing, ladies and gentlemen. Everything you thought was real, everything that you thought was true is coming to an end. Today it was announced 1 in 12 American households are opting out of the banking system. And what was funny is they said that they're opting out of the banking system, and they're going instead to check cashing places that pay high interest rates. Not like the 30% Chase credit card interest rates, like those are not high enough. No, they need to go somewhere else for higher interest rates. And so what you're seeing is a scramble by the elites that run the banking financial system in the West, trying to keep this Ponzi scheme propped up as much as they can, because as they continue to create all this money, guess who gets the money first? The people that get the money first, guess what they're buying in droves right now? They're buying gold, they're buying tangible assets, they're buying farmland throughout North Africa, they're buying farmland throughout the world. They're buying things of tangible assets, things that are worth something, have intrinsic value to them. I know I've covered a lot of things in a very short period of time, but here's what you need to know. What you need to know is that the economic paradigm is changing. The dollar as the world reserve currency is coming to an end. The ECB and the central banks of the West have gone down the path, have made the conscious decision of going down the path of full-blown money destruction, money heaven, as they continue to create trillions upon trillions of new currency out of thin air and destroy the purchasing power of the dollar. Countries that are emerging like China, Brazil, they can't deal with that any longer because of the inflation that's taking place in America. You know, inflation in China is over 200% in food alone in the last 10 years. If that happened here in America, that would be full-blown revolution in the streets. The Chinese can't deal with that anymore because people, they don't take it so nicely over there. So what do? Well, they need a currency that they can back something, have a strong currency, and then they can print that strong currency, and then all the cheap crap that they sell to Americans, they can just sell it to their own people who are hungry to live a life like we live here in the West. All the iPhones, all the dishwashers, the washing machines, the cars, all that stuff we take for granted, people in China are dying to live that lifestyle. Not just with the consumerism, but also with just energy as well. That's why China is also making strategic alliances with countries around the world for natural gas, oil, you name it. Rare earth minerals, which they mine the majority of. That's what you need to know, that the economic paradigm we are living is changing. To recap, Bernanke today, I believe, is going to roll out unlimited QE. And make no mistake, this is just a public announcement. It's already going on. Last year, we know the Federal Reserve purchased 61% of all U.S. debt because there's no demand for it. People are going other places with their money. The Chinese, I believe, are already in talks, or will soon be in talks, with the Chinese government in a way of deleveraging their U.S. treasuries. They want out of the U.S. treasuries. That's why they're not buying them anymore, or not buying them as much as they used to. They're going to do something with those U.S. treasuries. What are they going to do? Are they just going to dump them and collapse the dollar and allow America to basically, who still will have the #1 military, to say, hey, that's an act of financial terrorism, Chinese, and any country that supports them, we're going to come after you? Are they going to allow that to happen? I don't think so. Instead, what they'll do is behind the scenes, they'll tell them, hey, we'll dump your currency, we'll cause your dollar and currency to collapse, or we'll exchange these treasuries and you can sell these phony instruments to somebody else for the gold that you have, or for some military hardware, because a lot of that around as well. You need to think out of the box. I believe 100%, because history shows this doesn't end well, but it doesn't have to not end well for you. If you know what's coming, or you can at least think out of the box and get out of the normalcy bias, then you could kind of prepare and mitigate some of these different events that could possibly take place. Think about it. I'm your internet anchorman, Fabian for Liberty, FabianForLiberty.com. Also remember, this Monday, September 17th, starting this Monday, September 17th, and every Monday and Friday moving forward, I will be premiering my radio show on American Freedom Radio, heard worldwide from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Also go to FabianForLiberty.com for more information on how you can call in the show, listen online as well. Thanks for watching. I'm out.